You're listening to The Startup with Monique LeRae, only on LA Talk Radio.
How's it going, Los Angeles? This is The Startup with Monique LeRae. I'm Monique LeRae, coming to you live from a beautiful Laguna Beach. It's a little bit overcast. We had some rain and winds last night, and I'm still in my snow jacket. But hey, we move on, right? Happy, April showers bring May flowers. So that's what we're doing here at the beach. I wanted to actually start the show off by giving a special shout out to a lot of our sponsors. Thursday night, I was in New York for a day and a half for a pop-up, a wellness brand called Tonal, Tonal. Thank you so much, Alexis, and everybody at Tonal Studios for having me out. And all the brands that supported this event is a wellness, fitness, beauty brand. One of our friends at Rat Bastard Energy Drink gave us some supplies. I got to tell you guys, this brand is really amazing. It gives me a lot of energy. I'm a big coffee drinker, as a lot of you might know if you watch a lot of my shows, past and previous. And so this is kind of cool because get up, you bastard, is what it says. I've met the owner, Kelly. Thank you, Kelly, for your support. What makes this drink great? 0 calories. I don't know how they pulled that off. You see 0 calories. 0. Also, vitamin C, 110%. B12 is 1,000 mcgs, and a lot of other great stuff too. Shout out to Way Up. We'll be listening in with Eric from Way Up Protein, which is a mix of caffeine and protein, which is amazing. But right now, let's start the show with our first guest, David C. Williams. David, welcome to the Startup. How are you?
Hey, how's it going? Doing well. It's good to be on the show.
Great. It's doing well. Yes. And so glad to have you here on a Sunday. Thank you for spending time with us. I was looking over some notes from your people, and I'm really just impressed with your movements. So why don't we go full screen, Sam, and give David an opportunity to introduce himself and what he's up to.
Sure. So I'm David Williams. I'm Assistant Vice President of Automation at AT&T. I lead one of the largest robotics process automation programs worldwide. We drop a lot of different types of automation. We use APIs, AI, ML, all sorts of different things to solve for business problems. A few years ago, I won a Black Engineer of the Year Legacy Award. After doing so, I felt like it was incumbent upon me to start to have robot and STEM workshops in underserved neighborhoods, which is where I'm from. Over the course of that, I've won some other diversity awards, recently a NSB Distinguished Engineer of the Year Award. So that's a little bit about me.
Wow, a little bit. I mean, David, wow. It's a pleasure to be sitting with you. And for all your achievements, congratulations. I know moving in those spaces and being an innovator and then accelerating and winning awards is no easy feat. So congratulations again on those things. I wanted to if you could just break it down for us, pretend we do not know what you do. I want you to give us the novice 30,000 foot view of exactly what you do. Explain it to us little people. Sam, go full screen for me. Thanks.
Sure. So maybe just a couple examples. I imagine many people work in different office environments. They have many systems that they work in. My organization does things to help make those systems work better. A lot of times system A doesn't talk to system B. We find the simplest way to make system A and system B talk together. And so we try to improve the employee experience and also the customer experience. Other things that we do, imagine when you call customer service or different companies, you have to dial a 1-800 number, you press 1 for this, 2 for that, or you talk to it. We've introduced visual IVRs where you can do things visually instead of having to talk or type it in. Just different things like that, all sorts of really cool innovations, things that, just kind of down in the bowels of the organization that will just drive massive amounts of savings and efficiency for the group.
Okay, so we have a little box around your face. I don't know if that's intended. Can you see that box, David?
I can't.
Okay, there's an interesting box. It's right around your nose and your mouth, but hey, it's okay. So you know what? I really love that you were able to break that down for us. Let's delve into this, right? So a lot of people are, when you say AI, they aren't really clear about what that is. They're a little adverse to it. They're a little bit, the tech solutions here. How can we give
Sure.
the brick and mortars, if you will, the main
Yeah.
streets, if you will, more clarity on why we've already been using AI and why there's an advantage there?
Yeah, sure. So, there's AI, then there's generative AI. AI is has been around for many, many years, and it's really how you analyze large amounts of data. Generative AI is generative. It creates data. So if you were to say, hey, create a cat that's on the moon having an ice cream sundae, it would create that data, that image for you. So that's kind of the difference between AI and generative AI. With AI, it's been around for a long time. If you could think about just, a massive amounts of information that utilities or the government or other different large agencies have to process and solve for things. If you get into like today's world, you think about Amazon, Alexa, Siri, things like that, where you're able to talk and it can take that speech, analyze it, and then give back a comprehensive answer back to what your request is. So that's how AI has kind of been around for years. It's just starting to be a more prevalent thing as we get into generative AI.
Well put. I'm in my MBA program, and we were having a discussion about Nvidia. I might be saying it wrong. Nvidia, and they're doing some pretty unique things with AI and the different types. And I really like that you're breaking that down. I really wanted you to touch on some of these things that you've been able to power through. We talk about DEI and that's a gaslight for a lot of people, for diversity, equity, and inclusion. But really, it doesn't mean that people of color or people who might be disadvantaged because of certain things with the government and beginnings. We're not looking to be treated better or anything. We're looking for just the even playing field and just to get in the game. And so, with your background, how did you shape your leadership, and how did this help with your
Yeah.
strategies within that space?
Yeah. Sure. So, diversity, equity, and inclusion has kind of taken on a life of its own. The term and
Yeah.
the meaning thereof. That concept has been around for decades or hundreds of years.
Yeah.
But when I think about that and how it can be a strategic advantage, you can look at it from many different perspectives. A big portion of my organization, about half of my organization, is female. Just about we have just about every spectrum of the rainbow of diversity in the organization. Many of the folks on the team did not have a traditional technology background. They come from other spaces and places. All of that diversity of thought helps us to problem solve typically better than a homogenous team would, because we have perspectives from so many different angles.
There you go.
And so when we put a problem in front of us, we look at it in such a creative way. Einstein would say that innovation is born out of necessity. When you have folks that have come from so many different backgrounds and so many different types of trials and tribulations that they've had to come through, their perspective to problem solving is different.
That's
So
right.
no matter how good mine or anyone else's problem solving gets, having so many different diverse perspectives helps us to come up with extremely great answers. And so we have a philosophy that 1 and 1 is 11. You just got to put them close enough together.
Beautifully put. And I think that anybody looking to increase their bottom line and retain their clients and grow their business wants to appeal to all of their customers' needs and get ahead of those problems and problem solve and be innovative and have the foresight. And with diversity within the C-suite, especially, that sets the standard and the tone for being able to offer those types of things.
Agreed. And, my firm has been, very supportive in diversity, equity, and inclusion. However it's ever, termed, or the nomenclature changes over the years. AT&T has always been a supporter of everyone. And we've been a pioneer in that space as well.
Let's speak about AT&T. I'm a client. So thank you for my cell service. So how has your your path, how were your experiences there? How did it contribute to your hyper automation? What's the impact of the future of your work?
Sure. So, it's a big company with a lot of different types of work. And so I started off in the network organization. I moved into consumer broadband. I went to the data center, worked on the business side, project management. Just I had a lot of different types of experiences. And all of those different types of experiences gave me a chance to really understand the business. And so over time, getting all those different diverse perspectives of the business, as I began to advance in my career, it really gave me a good opportunity to really know where the bodies are buried and how to go solve for those things in the most cost-effective, highest return on investment way.
Listen, if I was hiring and I wanted someone to best represent my brand, my company, I would hire someone like yourself. And I can relate to that in a different way with production. I started off as a PA, production assistant, where you go get the coffee and you tell people where to park, and you're the first one there and the last one to go home. And then from there, you are casting, and you see post and edit, and you see deadlines, and you're able to appreciate the full view. And also, you're able to say, okay, this is doable and this isn't doable, and you can foresee trouble or things that need your help. So I really love that you have that background. Right now, why don't you plug for us what you're working on next? You're doing it now. I think it's called Flex Agent.
Yeah, so the team has built a lot of different innovations, and they've really come together to create a program where really we've reinvented customer service. And so in many ways, there are certain just business models of customer service, business model that has certain inefficiencies in it. We've been able to mine those inefficiencies out. And by doing so, we're offering people a chance to work from home. They are able to earn a really decent wage. They set their own hours, their own terms on that. At the same time, the type of training and the construct we've given them enables for them to provide a really good customer service experience to the customer. And then lastly, with my company, my firm, we, happen to save, costs in driving out those inefficiencies and driving a more efficient cost model. And so everybody wins in it. It's an amazing program. It's been just rising consistently. We've taken more and more calls, more and more people joining. We get folks joining absolutely every single day. Rave reviews, people are loving it. And it's really a cool situation to see where you can put a program together where there's really a win-win-win, the customer, the call taker, and the company.
Beautiful. So give me an example of a company right now, maybe someone that you would love to have as a client, or your dream client for Q2 and Q3 of 2024.
Well, right now, Flex Agent is something that we're using to solve for customer service issues for AT&T, and we use a lot of different partners to pull this whole program together. And so right now, I'll tell you, that's really where I'm looking at as kind of my focus, is just to make sure we continue to grow this thing out and be successful there. Where else it may go, the sky's the limit.
I love it. Maybe you'll have a licensing deal, and I'll turn on and look at you with the Forbes, making the Forbes list or something like that. Who knows?
Who knows?
Well, I would love for you to tell me a little bit about this, legacy over entourage idea, this concept that you are working with.
Yeah. So, I had two professional goals in my career. One is to drive a large impact to society at large, hence the patents and the different things I work on in technology. And the other is to mentor, because mentoring has been everything to me. I think that when there's mentoring, there's a few different types of mentoring. There's crisis prevention mentoring when someone's really in a situation. There's mentoring when someone maybe has lost their way and needs to find their path again. Mm-hmm. Then there's mentoring with folks that are really just firing on all cylinders and are just really rock stars. Mm-hmm. When we run across folks like that in that third group, I often find where sometimes there's a difference between a mentor and a sponsor. And some say, oh, you need to know the difference. I would say it a little differently. I'd say if someone's been mentoring for any long period of time, 6 months or a year or so, if they're not giving constructive criticism on what it is you need to do better, then they should be opening up the Rolodex or the contact list to say, who would you like for me to call? Otherwise, we're building a entourage and not a legacy, right? If we're building a legacy, we really should be helping the folks that we mentor to get to our level or beyond, right? We should really be opening up the contact list to help people go further. And sometimes in our own community, we struggle with that. We may want to see people do good, but maybe not great. And we just, there's just not enough time for that. We really need to help our culture and our community advance.
That's right. And you know what? The least among us, if they're doing well, everybody else is doing well from the bottom up. I like that you are leaning into legacy rather than entourage, because that can get heavy, right? That can be, you're only as good as your network. And thank you so much for being here today, David. Why don't you give us your social media handles or email? Where can people reach out if they'd like to learn more?
Absolutely. Feel free to reach out. You can catch me on Instagram at David Chris Global. On LinkedIn, I'm David C. Williams, or you can catch me on my website, davidcwilliamsinc.com.
We have to have you come out to LA. We have an event. I think that your some of the things you're doing would be great. I'll reach out through your people.
Sure. Love to.
All right, David, pleasure. Have a beautiful rest of your day.
All right, you too.
All right, guys. Next up, we have Drew. Drew, how's it going? Welcome to the Startup.
Hey, Monique. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you. How are you?
Well, where am I finding you?
Oh, you're finding me here by the beach in Laguna. I've got my ski jacket on because the weather is interesting. So, but tell us, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us about your brand?
Nice. My name is Drew Cesario. I founded a company named Botanical Group. And what I do is I help mostly professional services businesses and eco-conscious consumer packaged goods companies, founders. I pull them out of the weeds and set up processes to create scalable and sustainable growth. So the buzz term for it, something that's been around for about 6 or 7 years now, is revenue operations. Okay. And so we focus on creating structures of alignment between sales, marketing, customer success teams that really are the engine for revenue for businesses.
Wow, that is quite niched, right? Like that's a very, you refined so let's hear about your startup story. Like, how did you find yourself in this very niche, very specific space? How did you start here? How did you get here?
Yeah. I ran a lot of sales and marketing teams, from wine and spirits to cannabis, and actually kind of played this role for a venture capital firm. Okay. And I was kind of an in-house entrepreneur for them, where they would make these investments in businesses, and then I would come in and help them kind of pull those founders out of the weeds and structure their growth. And ultimately, like the last gentleman that you just had on, I want to leave the world a better place, and that was certainly one of my business goals. And so I really focus on companies that have environmental impact, and that's part of their mission-driven focus. And so we're like a 1% for the planet company, and we make sure that the people that we work for are mission-driven, and we, that's what gets us out of bed. There's a lot of different ways you can make money, and it can lack inspiration if you don't have that alignment. That's how kind of brings me here.
That's great. No, I love that, because, and on a smaller scale, whenever I'm doing these events and we've got the swag bag placement or the step and repeat, I'm like, gosh, that's not sustainable. The plastic and the chemicals, and you only use it once and then you throw it away. And I'm always looking for an eco-friendly swag bag or step and repeat or something, a little bit better for the environment. So I guess you have to take, one bite of the sandwich as you go. And I'm loving what you're doing. So what's your what are your goals for your business in Q2 and 3 of 2024? What are you looking to harness and really maximize?
Sure. I'm sinking deep onto a couple different projects with some really exciting businesses. One company is called E6PR, and the plastic rings that sit around cans,
yes,
like that turtles choke on. I've been working on with them for around 6 months now, and they've done a ton of innovation, and they create out of compost a completely compostable, biodegradable, molded fiber version of that. And so we're really working on expanding their footprint. We've got great conversations happening with breweries all over the place, and really making sure that we make a bigger impact in the packaging world, especially around craft brewery in Q2 and Q3.
I'm loving that.
Yeah, it's
I love
awesome.
it.
I mean,
That's
you can toss it anywhere, and in like 13 weeks, it's gone.
wow.
Yeah.
That's really great, because it's almost like you're taking, you're looking at the micro things, but these things add up. We use them so many times all over the world, every single day, and it just adds up. So the fact that you've got that, if you can do it on a micro level, maybe now we're looking at bigger things.
Yeah, we're working on a lot of innovation for some major global food companies to replace coffee pods. That's been an innovation that's been over 2 years of work. How do we replace like the tin and the plastic of like reusable coffee pods? Same with like food containers for frozen food. And so that molded fiber, food grade molded fiber, is, in my opinion, really a replacement for plastic in the very near future. So I'm excited to help them continue to scale that. And then for my business itself is, certainly we're looking to double our revenue by supporting additional people that are in these positions as startup founders, or small to medium sized businesses, building the infrastructure that they need around like sales, marketing, customer success, and really like help out those smaller professional services individuals, people who have small consultancies, installing CRMs for them and automations so that they can continue to do and make the impact that they have, while we just kind of set and do some of the background work that allows them to, be great out in the world.
Wow. Okay. So let's do a call to those small businesses, because we know you're out there. I need to look through my startup Rolodex, as I've run across so many inspirational startup stories. So why don't we go full screen on Drew? Drew, why don't you make the call to these businesses and just now looking for? Let's go full screen on Drew.
Sure. So yeah, I'm looking, and I'm here, and my business is here to support professional services and startup companies with that basic infrastructure that I was just describing. I'm sure that a lot of work is manual and tedious, and it can be done through automation and artificial intelligence. And so we bring people in, we give them a CRM and set them up and build automations to ensure that they're offering outreach at scale to prospect. We're supporting them, like making sure that they're efficient at building content in the surface area for additional business development for themselves, and ensuring that they are responsive through their websites or wherever to inbound leads that are organized for themselves, so that they can focus on growing their business. I think a lot of people, are spending the same amount of time in this like infancy stage. And we have gotten incredibly good at bringing people in and creating structure so that they don't have to go through learning how to set up a CRM like HubSpot or Salesforce or Pipedrive. We will do that for them with that infrastructure, whether it's ours or the ones that they've chosen, and building that specialization for every single professional services company or consumer packaged goods company. It just isn't compound learning. It isn't somewhere that they want to focus their development. And so we really believe wholeheartedly that we can come in and add outsized value and abbreviate their learning curve, not by 3 months or 4 months, but by a year, 2 years, because there's a lot of unknowns that they have to go through, and it simply isn't worth the time and attention. It is devastating to hear other professionals or entrepreneurs stuck because there's just this technological wall that they're trying to get on the other side of, to ensure that they're able to fulfill their mission around supporting whatever product or service that they want to put in the world. And so we're here to support them and get them out of the weeds, build some organization for them so that they can go do what matters most to them. I don't think a lot of times bakers want to like sit there doing anything besides like baking and make a great product. They don't want to run payroll or anything else, and that's what we do. We don't run payroll, by the way, but it's all about, the book kind of the E-Myth Revisited. It's all about specialization of understanding how to run a business holistically. And a lot of that, what has come into the 21st century around automation, that allows what we call force multipliers for themselves. That's what we come in and do. And we aim to work ourselves out of a job. That's my goal. I want to find myself redundant within your organization very quickly because we've set up the tools for you to be successful, and then we get out of the way.
I love the way you put that. You're kind of like the Hinge of CRM. Hinge, the dating app says, the app that's meant to be deleted. That we want you to find love and get off our app. No.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's true. Like I don't want to be working with you for, a couple of years. Like of course, like if you need that work, if you need advancement, I will be here as a great partner. But honestly, like a lot of people, I think, are weary of other professional services firms, or like, let's just say like marketers, or let's just say sales operators or revenue operators. And the truth is like, I think a lot of people go into it hoping, because they put a lot of energy into landing a client, that they can have that client for a long time. And it's just not my goal. My goal is having a client for a short time. And my hope is that you have a great experience and we grow our network because you're happy.
That's a great lane to be in. And the CRM, guys, in case you're still starting up, customer relations management. So you want to have an infrastructure that speaks to your business, your mission statement, if you will, your ethics within your organization, and also be able to scale and save money and time. So and limit liabilities within it. So having good customer relations and making sure your people, your team, your sales marketing team are happy and motivated. Drew, it sounds like you've got your finger on the pulse here. Where can people find you and where can people hire you?
So you can find me at my website, botanicalgrp.com. And I'm also on LinkedIn at Drew Cesario, Cesario. I guess it's right there. And
on this side somewhere.
Yeah, right there. And yeah, I mean, those are my places. I don't really check Facebook or Instagram. I'm just not cool anymore,
I mean, so. It's probably good for your mental health anyway.
It's so much better for my mental health that I'm not on it.
Oh my gosh, it's
such a suck.
It's a constant gaslight, and I always go back. So great. When you are ready to go to the next thing, where do you think you might land?
What do you mean by that? Like where we want to make an impact on other industries, or
like what do you have your feelers out? What are you passionate about? I know the environment is obviously very important. So where else might you be going?
So my long-term passion is desalination. I really firmly believe that we need desalination plants, especially connected with clean energy, to provide the world clean and safe drinking water. And that's not just here in Southern California, that's like across the globe. And so I am very passionate about spending my time, energy, and long-term invested in ensuring that clean drinking water is available to everyone. And that's like that's what this is for. That's what Botanical, is eventually funding me to allow to invest more resources into that. And that's what gets me out of bed in the morning.
Well, I'd love to reach out through your people and get your take on the endemic. I did 3 documentaries during the pandemic, 20 cities around America, and then 40 countries in 22 months during the, I'm exhausted, but so it's a crazy time, but I have, I would love to get your perspective on that. We're finishing up in South Africa soon. So I would love to speak with you about that, especially from the point of the lens of, resources such as water, clean water. We teamed up with a brand called Soul Light. It's a solar lantern that gives light security to certain parts of the world when the grids go down. So I'd love to speak.
Cool.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, Drew. Well, I'm so glad you were on, and definitely come back and check in with us.
Certainly. Thank you for having me on, Monique.
Thank you. Be well.
Have a good one.
You too. All right, guys. That was G. Cesario. And we had David C. Williams. I want to give a shout out to summer. Sorry, I'm having those springtime allergies, guys. I'm like itchy. Beautiful plant here. I want to give a shout out to our station sponsors, the people who keep this going. Shout out to Michael Solberg Family Wines. Thank you so much, Leah Solberg, for being with us for the whole 5 years we've been on the air. Could not have done it without you, sister. Still can't do it without you. If you guys need a beautiful wine to pair with your wine glass, no matter what you're eating, get with michaelsolbergfamilywines.com. They were born in the 80s, and her father, Michael Solberg's legacy continues through Leah Solberg's work. She is very passionate about your wine experience being clean, being crisp, and goes well with your favorite wine glass. Okay, so www.michaelsolbergfamilywines. Also, Next Level Global Solutions. Shout out to Shane Hyman. He is integrating tech with investments and creating a world where you can have equity by using your sweat equity in the tech space, merging those gaps, giving more people opportunities to build wealth, and using all the technology, all the things, all the advances that we have these days to build a bridge for folks. So, you know, the sky is truly the limit right now with tech. And so, you know, Next Level Global Solutions, Shane Hyman, we'll learn more about that. Also want to give a shout out to Iron Lace Jewels, custom bespoke jewels. This woman is amazing. Marina, she actually takes jewelry and materials and reuses them and makes custom jewelry pieces. So Iron Lace Jewels, check that out. Also, Dr. Jess, a shout out to Dr. Jess. She's in the holistic space. She's got a really great story. And if you need any second opinions on things, if you want to look at something from a medical issue from a more holistic point of view, she is a wealth of information. Shout out to Dr. Jess. And I hope I'm not forgetting one. Of course not. Shout out to Omar, Vaquerero Studios in Mexico. He does some of our mock-ups and things on social media. Thank you so much, Omar, for reaching out and helping us out. And everybody who supports this channel, you know, this is the little engine that could, and we're still working to grow. All right, next up, we have Aisha. Aisha Terry, how's it going? Welcome to the Startup.
Hi, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. All right, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us about your brand?
Absolutely. So I'm Asha Tari. I am a psychotherapist as well as a spiritual and mental fitness coach. And I help women and professionals of color to get time back on their calendar, to heal from toxic bosses, lovers, and friends, and turn their health around.
Well, first of all, I thank you for the proper enunciation of your name. It's Asha. And I really love what you're doing in those spaces, because this is something people just don't talk about, especially not in my business. In production, it is highly toxic. It's why I went independent. Can you give us a little bit of a background of your startup and why this is your passion and your niche?
Yeah, absolutely. So after 14 years of healthcare work for other people's companies, I founded my own because, number one, I wanted to be able to do work that was meaningful, that wasn't some kind of cookie cutter to fit people into a box to fix their life, but to give people the power back to understand a couple of things. Number one, that they are able to change anything about themselves that they choose to, but they have to, secondly, commit to the health of their life and what they want to change in order to be able to do that. And lastly, that we work best when we work in community with people. And we, as people of color or people of African descent or women, we do healing work when we are healing ourselves, and ultimately that heals our relationships with other people. So for me, it was really important to model that first and foremost by healing myself many times, transforming my life many times, but also being able to show women and professionals of color how to do that. So if you want to make more money quicker, if you want to stop having relationships with people that are one-sided, if you want to leave narcissistically abusive relationships, I can help you to do that by teaching you what to look for, how to do the work that's going to help you to do deep level, meaningful healing. And also to do it in a way that you feel more joy, more peace of mind in your life, and you get ultimately time back on your calendar.
Wow. First of all, thank you for doing the work on yourself and now grabbing that air mask and oxygen mask and helping others, because you could have very well have just fixed yourself and kept it moving, and
Absolutely.
you chose to do this and build this out, and this is very, very needed. It's like almost, and the universe never it just never fails me, the timing of our conversation, and I would like to talk to you offline at some point, but let's just jump right into it if you don't mind. Can you give us, without giving away all your jewels, can you give us a couple highlights or pointers of things to look for within the workspace that might be a gaslight, that might be toxic? Everybody's not a narcissist, but there are things that are toxic. So could you give us some examples of what people could be looking for?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that I look for in working with people who work in workspaces where they may be one or one of a few people like them is to notice the culture of the workplace. So how does everybody else appear at work? Do they keep their head down? They're hyper-focused. They don't socialize with other people. They almost seem too timid to raise their head up and talk to other people. You want to notice that, because that also is a sign that maybe people have been mistreated or poorly treated or not included. And so if that's going on in multiple ways, where you can see that with your colleagues, you see that with upper management, there's no invitation for people to share parts of themselves at work, then that's a sign that this may be a culture of toxicity. And sometimes you can find that out in the interviewing process, but other times you don't find it out until you're actually working for a company. And it doesn't take that long to find that out. The next thing that you want to notice or look for is, how do people treat their time away from work? So is it encouraged by leadership or upper management to use your paid time off, to use your sick days, to take your comp time away from work? Or are they pushing the gamut of, work to you or dead, or, answer phone calls and emails on the weekend, or their messaging is around, our most successful people are the people who work hard, push through. So you want to listen to that type of language at work, and that's a top-down model. So you pay attention to that as well. And then lastly, you want to also notice, how do people talk about their mental health at work? Now, some people feel like you don't bring that up at work. That's private, that's intimate, it's personal, but it doesn't have to sound like, oh, I'm going to my therapist. But what it can sound like is, yes, I close my laptop at 5 o'clock and I leave the desk most days. It's not a hard stop necessarily when you have a project that needs your attention until it's completed. But generally, how do people talk about it? And do they talk about it with confidence? Are they timid around talking about how they end their workday? Do people leave their desk for lunch, or do they eat and work at the same time? That's something to also pay attention to. There are high achieving professionals that want to, keep their head focused on the computer and eat and work, which isn't good for your brain health, number one, but it's also not good for your mental health and your emotional health. So you want to look at that too. Like, are people taking their breaks? Are they going outside for lunch? Do they come back restored, or do they push through work, and do they pump out, projects? And is that what people feel good about being at work doing all the time? So you want to pay attention to those habits as well. So look for the things that you see other people do, look for the ways that management talks to you and other employees, and pay attention to how people actually treat their own mental wellness.
Wow, really great sharp points that stand out immediately, if not right after, like you say, you take the gig. And I got to tell you, most production companies I work for, in my 24 years of being in the business, a lot of that stood out right away, and actually is the culture, right? Like, it's actually accepted. Getting a lunch break was unheard of. You're out scouting for recruiting for casting, and you've got your food in your mouth and you're talking to people. I mean, it's just out of control, and we accept it. You really are hitting on a lot of points here. Where can someone take this without seeming like a problem? You're the only woman in the corporation. Let's say it's a small studio or wellness or whatever it is, and you're the only person of color, and you're a woman, and you are not wanting to look like you're complaining. Or how do you approach this? Do you go straight to HR? HR is there for the company's benefit, right?
So HR is supposed to be there for the benefit of the employees. The misconception is that it's there for the institution, and that's the perception that a lot of workers feel, because there are experiences that people have had where they couldn't trust their HR representative. What's changed, especially since the pandemic, is that now HR is sometimes hired third-party vendor. So you may not have that person in-house who may feel like an allegiance to the institution because they're coming from an outside company. So that sometimes is beneficial to employees, although conversations with HR are supposed to be confidential. And most times they are. Sometimes people don't necessarily, again, trust that. So what I would say to do is, if you have an outside advisor, especially, again, if you're one of a few people who look like you at work, consult with an outside advisor. So it could be someone in a workforce culture, but they don't necessarily work for your company. So that could be a seasoned professional in your life, in one of your networks. That could be your mentor, either that you currently have or you had in college. That could be someone who is a part of another organization. Say if you're a part of a sisterhood or a brotherhood organization that you could tap into. It could be someone who maybe pastors you in your temple, church, or mosque. So you can talk to other people who are seasoned professionals that don't necessarily have to be in your industry necessarily to understand. But if you find that the industry in which you work has a very niche or specific culture, then you may even want to hire an executive coach, even speak to someone at the workforce, at the labor department, just to get consultation on how to protect yourself at work, not only your mental health, but your job. So what do you say? Give you some tips on how to rehearse conversations that may be difficult for you to have with your manager. Record everything as well that you do or say and to whom, and keep track of how you feel inside when you show up at work.
Isn't that the truth? The body tells it. Oh my
Absolutely.
goodness. Yes, you are just a gem. I want you to come back. I want to give you the whole show next time if we can make that happen. I know we can go in so many places here and really learn from you. Thank you again for what you do. Give us your handles and email, or wherever you'd like people to show up to find you.
Absolutely. People can go to my website, lifecoachasha.com, or they can find me on all social media at Asha Tari. On LinkedIn, I'm at Asha Tari Mental on Instagram.
Asha, thank you so much. You're a blessing in this world. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, dear. All right, you guys. Asha Tari. Now, next up, we've got my friend Eric Rothschild. Eric, way up. What's up?
Way up.
Way up. Welcome to StartUp. Yes.
Hey, thank you.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you, my friend. We met over the gifting suite, I think Emmy's week or Oscar's week, one of those fun weeks here in LA. Tell us who you are, and we want to hear about Way Up.
Okay. Well, my name is Eric Rothschild, and I live out in Phoenix, Arizona. I've been here a long time, originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I was in the Army, paid for college, moved here after college. And one thing that's always been really consistent in my life has been playing sports and staying fit. I am 57 years old, so I am not a young,
Stop living on the startup.
It's never too late, right? Although I do have an interesting history with Way Up, because this is actually kind of a startup getting started up again in a way.
Restart. It would be a restart. Yeah, we could do that.
Restart up. I like that. It's a restart up.
A restart.
And I'll give you a little bit of the backstory. So 17 years ago,
let's go full screen on him, Sam. We'll give you the full screen here, Eric.
Okay, cool.
All right, let's start
17 years ago, when I was a younger man, I had younger kids. They're adults now. I could go to the gym, and the only time I could work out was at 5 o'clock in the morning. I wanted to wake up with some caffeine, give me some good energy to go to the gym. And the fitness industry started writing a lot of articles about pre-workout protein. It's always been known to consume, like whey protein after you work out. But the fitness industry started writing a lot about pre-workout protein also. So I wanted to wake up with some caffeine, and I wanted some protein before I went to the gym at 5 a.m. But I didn't want to make a plate of eggs and a cup of coffee and wait to digest my food. So I actually blended my own drink in my kitchen. And I took a blender. I would take sugar-free energy drink. Sometimes it was coffee. Anything that had liquid caffeine, right? Coffee, liquid caffeine, energy drink, liquid caffeine. I would add some strawberries to it, and I would scoop in. I keep showing the tub, but I would scoop in protein powder, like, you know, and I push blend, and I had a protein drink that had caffeine in it.
Wow.
As simple as it sounds, at the time, no companies put that combination together. It was all protein and it was all caffeinated drinks. One day I've never been in the beverage business. One day I was just doing some yard work and the name Whey Up just popped in my head.
Wow.
W-A-T-Y as in whey protein and up as in the effect from the caffeine. And I just thought it was a great name. Earn your way up. I'm on the way up. Wake up with the way up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, and I love stories like this for startups because it came from a place of innovation, thing you were already doing. You were the test dummy, if you will. Pardon them calling you a dummy.
Yeah, I am a
You
dummy,
were the
but yeah, I'll take
you know,
it.
you're testing it. And it came from simplicity. You want to
Yep.
get your day going, handle your business, get your energy, get the protein you needed to sustain you for your workout. And it just makes sense to do that. And when we met and you said, hey, it's caffeine and protein, I'm like, what did I tell you, Eric? I'm like, those are the two things I always need. You know,
Right.
just like, if I don't feel like, you know, anything, committing to a big plate of food lately,
Right.
it's been, you know, so I'm loving your product. It tastes so freaking good, you guys. Eric's product was just at Total Wellness. It's studios in New York City. We gave them out. People loved them, and now you have some integration in New York. I know you're East Coast guy by
Birth.
origin.
Yeah.
So, where is Way Up going next? What are we looking to do with Way Up?
Yeah, so let me tell you real quickly about the restart too. Let me just finish that little part of the story because it is kind of unique in a way. So I grew it as best I could on my own. I raised money, jumped 2 feet into the beverage business. I grew it on my own for about 6 years, and I sold it to a company in 2011. 2015, they bought a bunch of brands and mismanaged millions of dollars and went out of business. But I love the name so much that I bought the trademark name out of bankruptcy court 8 years ago. And I've been sitting on it for the last 8 years till I met the right partner who could help me bring it back and restart it again. So it's a restart up. So we launched about 3 months ago. So it's been kind of a 17-year journey for me, but with an 8-year little hiatus in between. But the last 3 months is when we launched Way Up. So Way Up's really simple. It's 24 grams of whey isolate protein, has 150 milligrams of caffeine, equal to about a strong cup of coffee. It's got 5.5 grams of BC branch chain amino acids. There's only 100 calories. It's sugar-free. And this time around, we're only really selling it online for the most part because most people are just used to buying things online. So you can buy direct on our website, Drink Way Up, put the word drink in front of wayup.com. And we've been on Amazon now about 2 months. So that's been a real game changer for us.
Congratulations on all that. I really do love your rekindle story. And wow, to take it from, you know, out of the bankruptcy court and reclaim what is yours, energetically and spiritually and emotionally and all of it conceptually is really a great testimony for all of you startuppers out there who think that there's an end of the road for your brand. When you know it's yours, when you know it's your gift, go after it like Eric did. Wait for the right partner and really leverage that. And Eric, I know the sky's the limit. I know I'm going to turn on somewhere and see you. Oh, he's in that gym. He's you know, and Amazon is great for you. So I'm a lifetime client of yours now because I love your formula and I adore you. And I think, you know, you've really done something cool. So thank you for being here.
Yeah, no, I really do appreciate that. Yesterday was kind of a great day, cool day for us here in Phoenix. There's a big event in Arizona called Pat's, P-A-T, Pat's Run. And it's in honor of a gentleman named Pat Tillman.
Yes.
Who, was a hero, played at Arizona State University football, then played for the Arizona Cardinals. And after 9/11, when 9/11 happened, he actually left the NFL.
Yeah.
He joined the military, and he was actually killed in action.
Yeah.
In 2001, and he's a real American hero. And every year they have an event called Pat's Run, which is in honor of Pat, but it's also for his foundation. And so we had a booth yesterday set up sampling. Probably 20,000 people were there at the event. It was packed. It was huge. We went through about 3,000 sample cups and all day just sampling Way Up and telling people, you know, our story about the brand, where they can buy it. And, you know, the best form of marketing for me is just to have people taste it. because it tastes really good. It tastes like candy.
It tastes like candy, and it's a beautiful product. And I love that you were able to do that. Shout out to the Pat Tillman Foundation and everything you're doing. Come back on the show, Eric. I want to check in with you at Q4 of this year and see if you'll have time for us.
Of course.
I don't know.
Come on, Monique. Of course I'll have time.
Well, lots of love here from Laguna for you, and continued success. And give us your handle one more time where people can find Way Up.
Yeah, so you can find us anywhere online, whether social media or on our website. Just put the word drink. Can you see my shirt? Just put the word drink in front of Way Up. So it's drinkwayup.com, Instagram, Facebook. All of them are Drink Way Up, and you will find us. We have free shipping on our website every once in a while. Matter of fact, today we have a buy one, get one free. So every so often we have buy one, get one's free. Like I said, we're on Amazon. So you just go on Amazon, search for Way Up, just spell the name, WHEYUP. We're Prime eligible, so there's free shipping there as well. Great. And everyone out there can earn their way up.
You're going way up, Eric, and it's a pleasure to know you now. What will you start today, everybody? See you soon.
You're listening to The Startup with Monique LeRae, only on LA Talk Radio.